Everyone, this is Amir. Welcome to How I Just Got Hired. This is Tazkera, and we are going to have a great conversation today. So, Tazkera, if you want to introduce yourself, please, you have uh, the speaker or microphone.
Thank you so much, Amir. It's my pleasure to talk with you, and I want to be as helpful as possible to new job seekers, both experienced and aspirational. So I really appreciate you giving me the chance to talk. So my name is Tazkera. I am an astrophysicist by education, but for the last 3.5 years, I have been working as a data scientist and machine learning specialist. I worked for two different companies by now. I first started my data science job as Larson and Tarbell as their consultant, and then migrating to data science and machine learning. And recently, I started my job as senior data scientist and machine learning architect at a federal government contractor company. And yeah, this is all about me as introduction, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. So, how did you dive into the world of data science and machine learning?
That's a very interesting question. So, as you know, I personally feel that data science and machine learning, they did not really establish as a major to study even for people, right? So most people who become data scientists or machine learning specialists, they don't have a bachelor's or master's in that field. So all of my coworkers, they all come from different backgrounds. They had different educational, different occupational background beforehand. So my personal journey began with some kind of family issues, some kind of professional issues. So during COVID, I decided to become more stable financially. So I left school and I was looking for my job outside academia. And then my professor and my coworkers told me, oh, data science is a new emerging field. And we have seen a lot of people coming from physics, statistics, math, even computer science making that transition because it is kind of a simulation of all of these fields together. Why don't you try that? Now, many people would wonder, okay, how did a physicist come into data science? Like, what do you have in common? Technically, nothing much, but that's the great catch because all you need is the ability to learn new things because it is itself an emerging and new field, right? There is no certain landmark, there is no certain criteria that you have to know as a data scientist. You have to have good mathematical background, good programming background, definitely. Even if you know any other language like C Sharp or Java, that's still transferable because most data scientists use Python nowadays, and we have a lot of libraries. For me, it was mostly computer vision at the beginning because I was an astrophysicist, so I had few experience in astrophysical image analysis, which was pretty much computer vision. So I used that as my leveraging point to come into data science. But anyone coming from a little bit, I would say, scientific minded background can make that transition if they can convince how their previous work or educational experience can translate into data science.
Awesome, awesome. You actually answered my second question. I was going to ask that what should people learn or do to stand out, when they are applying for data science job. So let's talk about the job search approach. Do you have any tips on figuring out which jobs are worth applying to and which one they should, as a red flag, they don't should apply for this kind of jobs?
So that's, of course, more of a personal choice. Now, everyone comes from their unique background, right? So for me, let's say, when I started my job search, I was already a US personnel, means I had my green card. And I could technically wait for a long time to keep looking for jobs. So I understand that a lot of people are not in this nice cushion. A lot of people are international students. I myself was one at some point, so I totally understand the burden they have, immigration and visa regulations wise. So if you have very short amount of time, like most people probably do, then they cannot afford having red flags. So the main suggestion I will have for people who are looking for data science job, actively kind of searching and not only rely on just creating a resume. Go on that LinkedIn easy apply button, submit your resume, and just relax and sit back that you are going to get picked out of like maybe thousands of people who are applying. So, of course, there are some companies who are maybe fake job poster. They want to show that they have growth for their stockholders. I mean, those are everywhere, and you cannot really tell without having a big market researcher. No one can tell which company is real or fake. So it's up to the person. They have to do their own research. They have to go to the company's website, research, do they have public stock, how long they have been in business, what is their business goal. And I have talked to a lot of people on LinkedIn that you can actually create a sales navigator account or just go and find their public contact in that company, email those people, call those people. You have to be actively job searching. And when I say active, it means you have to take your job search as your full-time job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense, at least to me. I really appreciate that you bring it up. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So, how do you make your How did you make your application pop? Any specific things about your resume, cover letter? If you could share your own experience dealing with resume and if cover letters.
Absolutely. So I would say that I had mixed feeling about my own resume. When I was first uploading my resume, I think I did some formatting mistake, and a lot of people does that. I believe a good resume should start with a nice summary at the very beginning. A lot of people I know, they start their resume with their name, address, phone number, then education. I personally believe hiring managers or recruiters, they have only 5 to 10 seconds to look into a resume before going into deep details. So do not waste the first few, maybe 5 seconds lines with your resume, with your name and unnecessary things. Start your resume, experienced astrophysicist with 3+ years of experience doing this and that, or whatever field you come from. I personally believe I learned those tricks talking to a lot of people, talking to a lot of professionals in my field. A good resume should have a summary at the very beginning, 3 to 5 sentence summary. Then start with your professional background and the skills you have. Do not waste time with your education because a lot of data science or tech jobs, they don't really care if you have a bachelor's, if you have a PhD. They want to see if you can get the job done. So put as many soft and hard skills you have. Put Python, Docker, SQL, Power BI, statistics, math, these kind of things at the very top compared to some abstract things. And I know there are some good professional resume reviewers. I would say that if you think that your resume is not passing the ATS or whatever system they're using, even hire someone who are professional to write your resume. That's worth the time and money invested, I personally believe.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your tip. Actually, whenever you are in a job search, each day you don't get hired, you are losing money. So
Exactly.
you have to make a hard decision, about that. Okay, let's talk about the dark times in your job search journey. Do you have any dark times? When even you make it hard for yourself, or even you doubt yourself. During these dark times. If you want to share anything, please.
Of course, the entire job search itself is a dark time, I believe. So the moment you know that you have to go on a job search, you are kind of starting from the beginning again, right? I myself worked for a company for 3 years. And last year I had my first child, and then I could not work for them anymore because they were European clients, different time zones. So even with experience, I knew that I'm starting from beginning, because in your company, you have a reputation, whether it's academia or your company. When you are looking for a job, you are starting from square one again. So you have to reestablish who you are. So I first thought that I went back to square one again. And on top of that, I now have some baggage. Like I have to tell people, I have a child. So maybe if you are scheduling a 1 hour interview with me, I have to pause maybe in 15 minutes and go make sure my child is okay. And that's a very hard decision because, I mean, people are not very empathetic all the time. A lot of people, when they hear you have this baggage, they don't want to talk to you anymore. And that's the sad part of our life. So let's just eat that up for now. But the dark side overall is, I would say, trying to understand where you are compared to your peers in the job market and upholding your value. So I went straight into earning some new certifications because I knew I needed to show off something brand new. So people who are in data science right now, I can tell from my experience within my new company and from my previous work, try to get something which is trending. Large language models are a huge thing now. Anyone who can spell new things about large language models and generative AI, they have very good chance, because then the company sees you as avant-garde, like you are prepared to jump into real deal. Keep those old school machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, but have something new and trendy in your resume. Do some coursework either in Coursera, do whatever you can do to show that you have some new trends. Like for me, large language models, generative AI, doing some courses on Coursera really helped, because then I could show my employers I'm ready to jump into any new challenge. So, yeah, so the dark side would be accepting that you are in the job market, unfortunately, and spend each day of your life with the enthusiasm that you will be out of it soon. And the investment, your time, your money, your mental well being is worth every day.
Awesome, great. I know that you are super active on LinkedIn. So I want to talk about LinkedIn. How has LinkedIn helped you in your career? What's your best advice for using it to find a job for people that considering, being active? I know you are a top voice in data science in LinkedIn. So what will be your say on LinkedIn?
I believe LinkedIn is the single best social network I have ever invested my time on. I do have Facebook, Instagram, maybe X or Twitter, whatever. I don't even check those very often. But getting exposure to LinkedIn was one of the best things I did. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the job I hold right now, I don't remember even applying for that. Maybe I did, I did not. At some point, I forgot to keep track of what I was applying in the middle of applying every day. They actually saw my LinkedIn profile. They saw that I was LinkedIn top data science voice, and I had a lot of endorsements from people. And they thought it was worth talking to me for 5-10 minutes. The recruiter from the company, not even a third party company recruiter, they called me directly and they asked me, whatever I'm showing on my LinkedIn, are they really valid? Because you show a lot of things. I said 100% valid. If you can get the hiring manager talk to me for half an hour, I will convince them. Because hiring managers are busy. They don't want to talk to you unless the recruiter kind of pushes them. So my LinkedIn was like my whole advertisement, right? It was my product. So I saw my LinkedIn as my advertisement camp for free. I paid maybe 1 month, and then LinkedIn gave me another free month, and I got the job within like 2 months. So not too much. And I talked to hiring manager and I convinced them. And it was only one day of interview, 2 interviews, half an hour. And then by 5 p.m. my time, they called me again on phone. And they said, we have some quick questions. Can you answer right now? And I was washing my face. I was in bathroom area. I said, okay, yes, I'm ready. I told them whatever they wanted to know. So I exceeded their expectation. And they were asking me, if you want to do some other things that is not advertised within the job. I said, I'm ready to jump into job. Whatever you tell me, I will prove to you. And that was the offer. So my personal suggestion to anyone looking for a job, use that LinkedIn as your personal advertisement camp. You are going to get noticed if you try.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, you are a live example of how you can leverage LinkedIn in a perfect way.
Thank you.
So you had a actually unusual interview day. The whole day you were in talk with them. So can you tell exactly what happened during the interview? What was the toughest technical question, HR question? What was going on that day?
Absolutely. So let me tell you a little bit about actually data science and machine learning, what we do, because a lot of people who are maybe trying to come into data science without prior data science experience, they think that knowing a little bit of machine learning, deep learning, knowing the names of those algorithms can get you the job. You have to understand the company itself. That what do the company do with that knowledge? Do they want you to just build machine learning model for what? Because you always have to think that company is doing business, right? And what are they doing business with? Why do they need a data scientist in their team? What will you be doing? So I had my interview and I was ready to sell myself more than a business person than a data scientist. On my interview, I first said, I built end-to-end machine learning model for my European client so they can retain their customers within their bank. It can be anything. It can be retaining customers in a bank. It can be retaining students in a program. And I made it a business proposal more than I know machine learning algorithm. I know what is a p-value. In other words, focusing more on my theoretical knowledge, I focused more on my business knowledge. Like I can work for your company and I can help you retain your clients. So understanding the company, doing research about that company before jumping into interview is your first preparation. A lot of people think, oh, I'm going to write some Python codes. Okay, Python is probably one of the requirements. I actually didn't have to write any single line of code. I just talked face to face and I told them about my business acumen compared to how much Python or SQL I know. Honestly, if you know how to use prompt engineering, you probably don't need to know too much nowadays. So it's all about, that's why I tell people, work on your generative AI skill. You're going to thank yourself later.
Awesome. I really appreciate that you bring it up. So, beside what you said just now, what's your advice for new graduates? Your number one piece of advice for new grads looking into data science, and what would it be?
My number one advice would be, do not show yourself as a naive new graduate. In your resume, craft your resume in a way that whatever you did in your academia, because you don't have work experience, show the product. Do not show just your skills. Show that in my school project, I'm not asking them to lie. I'm asking them to craft their wording. I did a project in this course to understand how a company can use this kind of machine learning techniques to achieve a particular goal. That goal can be a financial goal. That goal can be a public health or medical goal, but it has to be a business goal because businesses are hiring you to do some jobs from them. So, my first advice to new graduates, do not show yourself without the business acumen of it. Show your business interest. Because a lot of times, data scientists are also the client facing side of a business. You have to be in the table with the client and you have to convince the client what you can do for them. So, I would say do not show yourself as naive, just algorithm crazy person. Show your business side.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Tazkera. So I have two more questions. I know you are super busy. This is your Saturday. I really appreciate that you are here. So you have a transition background, as I assume, yeah. So what would you say to someone thinking about moving into data science from a different field?
As long as the field has some scientific background, I think the transition should be very smooth. And by scientific, I mean it can be computer science, mathematics, statistics, physics. All of these backgrounds are heavily respected in data science because the job we do, they are a combination of all these, heavily relied on mathematics and statistics. But at the same time, as you are using programming languages, so let's say Python, they have some scikit-learn and libraries. They take care of the math and stat side of it. So it's a lot about insight, which physicists can provide. So as long as you have a scientific mind, a research mind, because let me tell you, 99% of the questions are Googling. Like your boss tells you, do this, and you are like, okay, I don't know how to do this. Your boss will tell you, go Google it. Someone else might have encountered the same problem you are, and you're just gonna go Google. So 99% of my job is Googling and understanding what I'm doing. There is no pre-written booklet for me that I just go and read manual. That's engineering. So there is a big difference between data science and data engineering. Engineers, they might have a booklet ready for them. You are becoming a scientist, a data scientist. So you are on your own. So you just have to have a curious mind and the ability to find new information.
Yeah, awesome. I do agree with curiosity, especially with these fields that change very fast. Every day you have to come up with a new solution. So let's talk about your motherhood, if you want. Uh, you
Of
are
course.
juggling a lot between a high impact career and motherhood. How do you manage balance to these important aspects of your life? And I encourage people to go to your LinkedIn post because I recently stumbled upon one of your LinkedIn posts about being a mother and um, uh, also have a career. So yeah, that was amazing, by the way.
I understand. And when anyone asks me about motherhood and career, I get very emotional. And at the same time, I kind of regurgitate whatever I want to say because it's very hard. It's extremely hard. And only a parent, mostly a mother, they feel the imbalance in life you get. Because I can imagine, like when I was only with my husband, we had a completely different life. We had weekends. Now I don't have any weekend. I'm 24/7 working, right? I'm either mothering and sometimes I'm mothering and working. So it's very personal and it kind of changes person to person. My personal experience, if you want to hear, and it can become very dark, but it's the reality. So I want to tell people, especially new parents, um, it's not as colorful and rainbow you always probably see. Even when you go to my LinkedIn post and you see, oh, I'm so energetic, this lady is doing everything. I do have my dark times that you don't want to see. So I always want to show my positive side, but I do have some negative and dark side, which I don't want to express because I don't want to discourage people. I like to be positive. I personally thought that when I become mother, either my mother or my mother-in-law, they will be the most helping hand in our family. They will come stay with us. They will do the mothering part for me, and I will do my job. That is not true. We live in a very different era. We live with very different expectations. So we have to also understand the society. We have to understand our family members. So I personally believe if people depend too much on their family, there will be an expectation gap that will create depression, which happened to me. I thought that I could just jump into my job search, jump into my job, doing my job, and mothering will be a third person job. That is not. You have to do both somehow. I sleep maybe 2, 3 hours per night, but yet I am more functional than ever. I think somehow you will have that hormonal surge that's more natural that you will get going. You will I have some depressed times, but I have a positive partner in life. My husband is extremely helpful. So sometimes actually in daytime my baby cannot go to daycare because they catch a lot of disease from daycare. Like last 2 weeks, she has been home. I literally sometimes changed diaper and had meeting. Like I don't know how I do it, somehow muting myself, this, that, but I do multitasking. But I do it. My boss is impressed with me. I do all my deadlines, so I do it. And it's not easy. So you have to accept that. So parenting itself is hard. Working full time is even harder, but you have to keep going, right? Because that is life. Life is not easy. I know nowadays when we go to Instagram and Facebook, I see people are going everywhere, taking photos everywhere, enjoying life. Uh, there is a cost of having a child and even a bigger cost of not having a child. The sooner people realizes that, the better.
Exactly. There is always going to be a cost. You have to choose your own struggle. Yeah.
Exactly. Life is not just sunshine and rainbows, but I personally believe the cost is bigger when you do not have a child because sometimes we do question ourselves, why did we want to ever be parent? But then I think 30 years from now, and I think I would thank myself.
I want to thank you for your time and generosity. Thank you so much for being with us here today. And any final words?
My final words would be we are navigating a very hard economic time throughout the world. So if you are not finding a job, it's not actually you. It's more of the socio-economic condition at this point. It's very hard to find a job because companies do not have their budget still. So timing in job search is very important. That's the first thing I learned in my life. I started applying in the fourth or third quarter, they call it, like September to December. So September is probably the driest. October, November, you keep going. December is the bam. You will get some good interviews and offers because they want to start their new fiscal year, which is January for some companies. So timing in job market is very important. So every day you do not get any offer, please keep your hopes up. Use LinkedIn. Keep posting meaningful data science, machine learning related posts. Try to be noticed and just hope for the best.
Yeah. And I wish you the best. Thank you so much, Tazkera. And
Thank you so much,
enjoy
Amir.
the rest of your Saturday. And I hope you are well with your family.
Absolutely. And I also want to tell the audience that I met Amir through LinkedIn. So we are talking and we made this friendship because, we were both active on LinkedIn. So meet some new friends that you can talk to. You can be the world apart in terms of location, but it's a very nice platform for professionals. Like you can find new friends, new connections. So utilize that. And everyone have a wonderful weekend. My good wishes for all of you. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I can try to help you as much I can. I'm extremely busy, but I keep at least half an hour of my week to reply to my messages and comment and things. So hopefully we will connect and be connected.
Hopefully, thank you so much. Everybody, Tazkera has a big heart, and yeah, she's so generous. Thank you again.
Thank you, Amir. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone.